Hello, and great talk from Anchorage. Thank you so much, SCB10X. I'm excited for this discussion on NFTs and gaming. Blockchain gaming industry is one to be watching. Let me start off by introducing myself. I am Ashton Addison, host of the Crypto Coin Show on YouTube and broadcaster on Reuters Insider Financial Network and Refinitiv TV, with our channel growing to almost over 800 interviews. We've had some interesting interviews in the blockchain gaming space, and I think none more interesting than this discussion we're having coming up with Kieran Warwick of Illuvium. Kieran, great to see you here, and welcome.
Thanks for having me, Ashton. Really good to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to dive into Illuvium's RPG NFT-based gaming platform that you're coming out with. It really does look like, from what I've seen so far, as one of the most hyped up games of the year that I'm excited for. I would love for you to just kick it off for us before we dive into the intricacies of NFT and DeFi and how that all incorporates, with just a quick snapshot and an overview of Illuvium and what makes it stand out as an amazing game.
Yeah, so at its heart, what we're trying to achieve here is building a AAA quality game, and the first of its kind on blockchain. And so essentially what Illuvium is, it's an open world RPG. It's very similar to the likes of Pokemon. And then we also couple it with an auto battler as well. So if you're a collector, there's something for you. If you're into more strategy and battling, then there's something for you as well. And we basically merged the two, and that's how Illuvium was born.
That's great to hear. And yeah, I hope it looks amazing. So I hope it's as addicting as Pokemon is. And I was on Pokemon Go for far too long, distracting myself from the crypto prices. So I'm looking forward to that. And I know there's a trailer out already that we can see. I would love to hear more about, you mentioned collectors and players as well. And on the collecting side, integrating NFTs in there. Maybe you can just give a little background on NFTs, how that integrates into the game and how that adds value to the game.
Mm-hmm. So NFTs in gaming are a massive breakthrough. Essentially what it means is that it's verifiable on the blockchain. You know that it's a unique asset. And in the case of gaming, and obviously this spans across, videos, photos, art, music. Anything can be turned into an NFT to ensure that that it has that rarity there, and you can identify that. But in our case, it's super important because what it actually means is the in-game assets that you have are owned truly by the player. So in a typical example, you're playing Fortnite and you've son, or maybe yourself or whatever, has gone and spent $500 on skins, and they don't actually own those skins, right? And whether it be skins or new characters or weapons or whatever it is, in the case of Illuvium, all of those in-game items are actually owned by the player. And whenever you see fit, you're able to go onto an open market. We've got our own exchange, which we're releasing, which is called the Illuvidex. And you can play for an hour or you can play for 10 years. And at the end of that journey, you can always go into that marketplace and sell those assets for crypto that you can then convert into fiat. And essentially, you're playing a game and you're earning.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, especially for the people that work hard to earn great items and be able to monetize off of that, and then the people that just want to pay to look cooler, to get ahead in the game and just lay some money down for those people that did the hard work. There's that exchange that can be made. That is something that I think a lot is going to have increased value. And I know that the game is it's not live yet. You guys have been working on it for quite a long time, but I want to get a glimpse into for those avid gamers, the gaming experience. And there's been this Something about blockchain gaming where people compare it to traditional video games and they say, well, you're adding in all this great extra functionality, NFTs, DeFi functionality, but the experience or the graphics may be, sacrificing as a trade-off. Is that something that you see, and how would you compare it to traditional video game RPG experience?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's definitely the first thing that I identified in the space, in the NFT gaming blockchain space, was the lack of substance with the games. And when I talk about substance, I mean the graphics quality, I mean the backstory, I mean the characters, I mean the lore. In a AAA game, there are typically 200 to 300 people in the studio that are all working over a 2 to 3 year period to build this game. In some cases, that can blow out to 7, 8, 9 years. And so to do this properly, you literally need to build a AAA studio. And we're in the process of doing that. I think we just got over 100 people that are now contributing to the DAO. And, we've got 50 artists that have all worked in either AAA studios, or they were freelancing and doing exceptional work. And that's why you see it in the art. And I think a lot of games as well, they were either doing one or the other, right? They were building it for a mainstream audience, or they're building it for a crypto audience. We looked at it at the very beginning and we said, let's not do that. Let's merge the two together. Let's do it properly. Let's do it completely decentralized. Let's give the power back to the people, allow them to have the ownership, and everything that we thought, as in my brother and I, Aaron, the other co-founder, everything that we thought was lacking in mainstream gaming, we wanted to add into Illuvium from the very get-go. And so that's kind of that's our point of difference. People always say to us, like, wow, you've already got 90 people. And I'm like, we're not comparing ourselves to traditional blockchain games, because we don't think there's going to be blockchain games and there's going to be mainstream games. We think it's all going to merge together. And if we're not positioning ourselves with these Ubisoft and Blizzard and all of these massive AAA studios, they're simply going to come in and see that play to earn is the future of gaming, and they're going to wipe us out. So we need to be ready for that.
Definitely, Kieran, and I think that's a great way to go about it. And it sounds like you've had an entrepreneurial journey as well. Just playing games, seeing the struggles, and then creating it yourself. And I'm curious. You mentioned there you have to be in the ranks with Blizzard and these large game owners. As the game comes out, have you targeted it to all three of people already in NFTs, people that are in cryptocurrency but not in NFTs, and as well just no coiners and people that just want to play great games?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? If we went out and we tried to educate the world on play to earn and NFT gaming without, as in mainstream people that have nothing to do with crypto, no coiners, like you're saying, then I don't think we would have had the level of hype and liftoff that we have to start off with. And so it's always been a two-pronged attack. First, we need to get the attention of the people in blockchain who are looking at NFT games and are actively playing them. And we're on our way to do that. Obviously, we have a lot to go, and I think once we get our game demo out, that's really going to solidify it for a lot of people that are speculating on us right now. But then, well and truly, we will be switching over to going after mainstream people, mainstream gamers who I believe would have come into this space already, purely because play to earn is just way too appealing. For developing countries, you can literally earn more than your minimum wage. And if you're going out there and you're laboring all day long, or you can sit down and play a video game, chances are you're going to want to play the video game if you're earning as much money. And so for us, we need to, I think there's going to be an inflection point that we hit where mainstream games, and there'll be enough blockchain games that have the same sort of quality that we do, that all of these mainstream gamers are going to start converting over. And so we'll always have the crypto marketing, activated, and we're always looking for more and more people, but we're well and truly trying to break down those barriers of, what is crypto and how does it work? And and we'll go into that in a sec when we talk about Ethereum and the struggles that we've had in the past. But I think we are definitely moving towards a very, very bright future for this new style of gaming.
Definitely, and it's very exciting. And it's great to hear that your team already has almost 100 people working on it. And I know that you're continually expanding the community. You mentioned there that they're joining the DAO. And I don't think a lot of viewers realize already that Illuvium is a DAO, and you're looking at building this into a fully decentralized game where anybody can contribute. And I'd love for you to just explain more about how the DAO works in Illuvium and the Illuminati Council.
Sure. So essentially, the way that we've set it up is very similar to the synthetics governance, in that we have basically allowed any token holder of ILV to vote in, and we do epochs of 3 months at a time, but we essentially vote in this council, and at the moment there's 5 of them on it, and essentially anyone from the community can write an IIP, which is an Illuvium improvement proposal. And basically, what that can be is anything. We've had already a case of myself writing an IIP, because again, I'm just a core contributor like everyone else in our DAO. And so I wrote an IIP to say, this is what I think our balancer smart pool price should be, based on, this is my rationale. You can't just be anyone can propose anything. You need to clearly lay it out, and we've got guidelines on how to actually do that. But I wrote this IIP and it got approved, and then Delphi, which is a very, very known VC company who were investors in us, lead investors, they didn't agree with it, and they came with a counter proposal and said $100 for your BLP price is too high. We want to drop it down to $50. And even though my proposal got approved, and you can call me one of the founders and whatever, didn't matter. The community agreed. We wanted it 50, and so it was. And so that's just one example. But once the game's out, I don't think people realize the detail that we've gone to, in that someone can actually, you're sitting there and you're like, I love this game and I have this awesome idea for a character. You can literally put in a proposal to say, this is the character that I think should be in the next set. These are the parameters. These are the skills I think it should have. These are the affinities, the classes, whether it's a rogue or a tank or whatever. And if the community approves it, it's in. And then you're literally sitting there going, I just made a character for this game, and I don't own it or whatever, but I'm a contributor. And so that's what it's all about.
That's really cool. And it's an interesting, process, because as I saw, you have written out guidelines to make sure that it's not just written on a scrap piece of paper, so it's clear in the goals that they're trying to add. But then, as you mentioned, you created an IIP and it was rejected, and a counterparty came back with a proposal. And I saw that, it's not as easy as having a centralized company just decide what is allowed and what's not allowed in the game. So do you see how much of that is like it makes it slower for development, or there's setbacks and there's cons to having a DAO as opposed to having a centralized company as well?
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, look, I've run a few companies in the past, and I've been the founder, and I'm the one who's calling the shots and all that kind of stuff. So personally, getting over that first hurdle was a little bit of a challenge. But when you think about it, to be a completely decentralized game that is run by the gamers themselves and the investors, it's just too exciting and it's too breakthrough to not go into it. However, though, you're right, there are challenges, and so we were lucky in that Aaron is unbelievable at game design. Like he's just a freak at it, and so he was able to present a game design that we had worked on for a few months or 6 months or whatever it was, and that had a very clear guideline of what we wanted to build, and you could call that the core Illuvium project. What and essentially, if you're joining that community, then you're somewhat agreeing with, I like the path that they've chosen across every single factor. And what we're trying to do with the council is steer the little things, right? So we're not saying I mean, if the council theoretically said, hey, we want a first-person shooter game, completely scrap Illuvium, theoretically we would have to do it. But I think everyone's accepted the core goal that we have and the core game mechanics that we have. But these IIPs and ICCPs are there for people to propose improvements to what the core devs, have originally come up with. And so we're lucky in that we haven't come up against too many crazy things where we've had to derail our development process and deprecate things and all that kind of stuff. So it actually is run quite smoothly. And I think that comes down to the fact that it's 5 people on the council and not, the 10,000 token holders that we have voting on that.
Definitely. Well, that's great to hear. I'm excited to see what the community comes up with when the game launches and they want to add in their ideas. And I might do that myself as well, and because I have the capability of that. And that's the beautiful thing about DAOs and decentralization.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to that. Now, I wanted to touch on Ethereum because you did mention there was some struggles at the beginning. Currently, the game's being built on Ethereum. The NFTs are on Ethereum. Maybe you could touch on that decision, why Ethereum is the best technology for Illuvium.
So as a base layer, Ethereum, it's got the largest amount of core devs. It's got the largest community. The most amount of projects are being built on top of it. It makes sense for so many different reasons to build on top of Ethereum versus another chain. The issues that you have with that are when you're playing a game, and particularly a mainstreamer, right? We're talking about converting these guys over from playing Fortnite and League of Legends and all that stuff, converting over. They're not used to MetaMask popping up saying, hey, pay us $10 gas. And now there's a minting fee, and now actually you paid your money, but it's going to take 15 minutes for the transactions process on the blockchain. It breaks the game completely, right? And it makes it almost impossible. And that's why we decided to move to a layer 2 in Immutable X, and that allows for 0 minting fees. There's sub-second transaction time, so everything's going through super fast. And the massive one is there's 0 gas fees. So when you're trying to attempt to get these guys over, with that seamless process of things working in the game, you're not putting up blocker after blocker after blocker that eventually someone goes, I'm over this. I'm going back to where I feel most comfortable.
Definitely. And I'm guessing that you considered technical barriers to entry for people that aren't in blockchain and try to not overburden them with, trying to learn the 101 of blockchain. They just want to accept a signature or something on MetaMask and realize that, hey, there may be real money involved in this, but you're actually making money as well if you are playing to earn and building a reputation and building items and NFTs.
Mm-hmm. 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 And it's interesting as well because we actually have a free to play element of the game. And so which theoretically blends into still playing to earn, because this free to play element is designed to right now there's a couple of games out there that have these huge barriers to entry where it's like $1,400 or $2,000 just to start playing because you need to buy these assets. We've gone a different direction, and we're basically saying if you put your blood, sweat, and tears into this game for hours and hours and hours, you can slowly build up the level of your alluvials to get to a point where you can capture something that does have value, and then all of a sudden your hard-earned hours are now paying off. And so that's what we've gone with to really increase the adoption rate of people coming over from mainstream.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of going about it. And I'm sure there's lots of people that would just love to try it for free, and then you get them hooked with either the graphics or the NFTs. And I was looking on the marketplaces. There already are NFTs available, and I'm curious on how that worked. Did the Illuvium Foundation create NFTs and release them, or was there airdrops and then they're tradable on the secondary marketplace after, or?
Yeah, so we decided it was a little bit of a marketing exercise. I was trying to work out how are we going to partner up with other protocols, right? Because the lowest hanging fruit is that we have, millions of people that are already utilizing DeFi protocols, and we had the ability to mint NFTs, but we didn't. One thing that we have been absolutely adamant on is that we aren't going to release a single NFT that's usable in game, as in a character NFT in game, because too many games go out there and they say, hey, buy our packs and you get like $20 million in sales, and all it encourages is just whales to come in and buy it up. We want a completely fair launch. And so with that, it's kind of like, okay, now what do? We don't have that, but what we can do is we can mint NFTs. We can partner up with, and we've partnered up with some huge protocols in Sushi, Synthetics. There was Barnbridge and a bunch of other really, really big protocols. And what we've called them is cosplay promo NFTs. So you can't actually use them in game, but if you think about them like almost like the promo Pokemon cards that they used to give out at like the conferences and stuff like that, you couldn't actually use them, but they now 22 years on or whatever it is are the most rare because you can't actually get it in the game. You can't actually buy it in a card pack. So these NFTs that you're seeing circulating, really, really cool artwork. I believe that, once the game's out, these things are going to be very, very sought after.
I think that's a great way of going about it. And I did see that they were getting bought up like wildfire, but I'm also very excited to actually see the in-character NFTs and what's in stock for when the game does come out. And I was reading into the fact that the players can get revenue from the game and through the ILV tokens. I'm guessing that's how it's integrated as well. And I know that you have a 2-tier token system with ILV and SILV. Can you talk about the tokens when the game comes out? How does that interact with the game, and how can it be monetized from the player's perspective?
Sure. So we basically have, there's 10 million ILV tokens in circulation. And the way that we've done it is, or the way that we've set it up is when you're staking, you earn additional ILV, but you also have the option to claim that not as ILV and as SILV. And the key difference is that SILV can be used in game to purchase things. And so it's a way for people who are staking to essentially have some kind of value that they can use immediately, because in our ILV, the way that our protocol works with our staking, the rewards are locked for a 12-month period. So we didn't want people to say like, oh, I've got all this ILV, but I can't use it. And it's actually super beneficial to the total ecosystem, because anytime someone claims SILV, it removes one ILV from the circulating supply, essentially. So if every single person took we've got 3 million in 3 million ILV in rewards to be issued over the next 3 years. If every single person claimed those as SILV, our circulating supply at the end of the 3 years wouldn't be 10 million, it would be 7 million. And so obviously less coins circulating, theoretically higher price. And so that's the way that we've done that. And but if you don't want to use SILV, the in-game currency is ETH. Very, very simple.
Great. Thank you so much for that explanation, Kieran. And we do only have a few minutes left. And I want to touch on this because I'm sure people are curious to know more about the game launch. And, nothing's ever concrete. I know your team's working hard. But can you talk about the tentative release for the beta where the players can actually get in and start playing the game?
Mm-hmm. So the first thing that we're looking to release is the game demo. That well and truly has been the thing that people are certainly in our community are waiting for. And I think there's a lot of people on the fence that are saying like, okay, the graphics look great and these little animation GIFs look great, but show us what it actually does. And so that's our main focus right now. But ideally, we're looking to get the game in the public. Obviously, there's going to be an alpha earlier, but the game in public's hands by the end of the year. We want, and it'll be an open beta. It'll be connected to the blockchain. You'll be able to actually own these assets, all of that kind of stuff. But end of the year is what we're gunning for. But again, it's a very, very aggressive timeline. Probably a little bit of inexperience on my side for going out with such an aggressive date. But we're building the team and we've got the right people to do it. So yeah.
Definitely. Well, I'm excited for that. And I did see in your Discord, there's already over 33,000 people. And I'm guessing that they're already getting involved. And there are ways to get involved right now. There are the NFTs, and is it the staking that's live, or what are the other ways that the viewers can get involved?
So we always are doing giveaways and stuff. The cosplays that I was talking about in partnership with like Chainlink and Sushi and stuff, they're always available, but to people in our Discord. So if you go in there, that's where you're going to have the chance to win one of these, potentially super valuable NFTs. And we're literally doing them all the time. I think we had like 3 last week that we were doing. So there's that, and then there's staking. So Kane, our brother, he's a little bit crazy, and he was advising us in the beginning, and he basically said, yield farming. You got to give a massive amount of distribution through staking. And so 30% of our token can literally be farmed by either an ILV, just staking purely ILV as a single asset, or ILV/ETH. And yeah, that's what's active right now. That's what we also have flash pools in that staking, which essentially allows people to stake a partnered asset. Right now, we just finished synthetics and we're just about to launch XYZ. But they're the two things that if you go into our Discord, you'll see a lot of active people doing that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time, Kieran. Looking forward to seeing the release, and all the best.
Thank you so much, Ashton. Appreciate it.